So this is easily one of the most requested topics I get asked about when it comes to generating leads on LinkedIn. And that is how to formulate and write messages in a way that gets people to respond and gets people onto calls and obviously gets people to become sales. So I'm super excited to go into detail and share some examples that have generated $100,000, even $1 million plus in revenue. And I can't wait to get into it. So let's go. Hey, how's it going? Ryan Caswell here from b2bleads.com, and let's jump straight into it. How to generate leads on LinkedIn, how to write the scripts that actually generate the leads. So what am I talking about when I'm talking about writing messages, writing these scripts to reach out to people on LinkedIn? So quite simply, just to give you a quick overview, chances are, if you're watching this video, you know what I'm talking about. But let's find some people, some new people, head to Sales Navigator, do a quick little search, connections, second degree, country, United States. Head to his profile and go to his actual LinkedIn profile. And now you can see we're not connected to him, so there's a button here that says you can connect. And so when I ask to connect, I can add a note, and this is where I can send him a message. Now this is the very first part, or the start, of messaging people on LinkedIn, and this is the connection message. So once he actually connects with us, should he choose to accept our connection request and have us join his network, we can then start a conversation with him. And this is all about how to connect, how to start the conversation, how to nurture that conversation, and how to get these people onto calls on LinkedIn. It's a topic, like I said, I get asked a lot, and people really struggle with it. And it's understandable. We don't want to come across too salesy, too forward, but we also don't want to spend all day, every day on LinkedIn becoming everyone's friend when we really need to start generating sales and getting people through to book calls. It's all about finding that balance, and I'm excited to show you what we do and how we do it as well. So I've got some notes here I'd like to go through, and it's as much as I want this to be a nice, simple topic for everyone to follow, it is quite in-depth. And it really isn't just as simple as saying, hey, this is the message structure that you need to follow, or this is the one template you need to use. It depends on your business, your offer, what photos you're using as your profile picture. There's so many factors and variables that you need to control that are going to determine what kind of structure you want to use for this. So I will be sharing some good examples at the end of ones that we've used, so you can use that as a template or a starting point, but there's a lot more to it, and yeah, let's get into it. So first things first, what I just showed you before was how to reach out to someone who's not part of your network. So there's different types of campaigns or ways you can reach out to people on LinkedIn. I'm going to be talking about people who are not in your network. So if people are in your network, you can pretty much just start conversations with them freely. But most people want to know how to find people they're not connected to and start those conversations and get those through to booked calls. So if we look at the actual process overall, you've really got three components to it. You've got connection, engagement, or engage, nurture, and then that gets through to a call and then a sale. Now, connection, engagement, obviously this is all going out to a specific audience. It's an audience that you know you can serve, and they're your ideal target market. So your targeting is going to play a huge part in this, huge part. In fact, probably even more than the messaging itself. But assuming you've got your audience right and you want to reach out and start the conversation, first thing you need to do is send that connection message. Once they connect, then what we need to do is get them to engage in conversation. And then what we do is we can send messages or a message to them to start that conversation. Now, the good thing about this part of the process is, assuming we're reaching out to people we haven't connected with, everyone is at the same point in our process, in that they haven't engaged with us, they don't know who we are, and this is how we introduce ourselves and start a conversation. Where it gets complicated is the nurturing process, because some people will respond straight away, some people may respond 2 years from now, some people will jump on calls straight away, some people everyone's at different points, and once that conversation starts, you've got a fairly complex decision tree, and this is where most people come apart, and this is where most of the money lives on LinkedIn. But the cool thing is this initial process is incredibly controlled. This is our audience, this is how we want to connect, and this is how we're going to start a conversation. So we're going to talk fairly heavily around how to structure a message sequence to get people to connect and to engage. And we're also going to go over how to nurture that through to a call. So the problem is, like I said, you've got a fairly complex decision tree and structure, and it's really important that we keep it aligned to getting to that call. Jordan Belfort has a good sales process called the straight line process, and it's very similar in this. We want to make sure that, you know, the conversation keeps coming back to that line. We're trying to get it towards the call. And how we nurture that conversation and respond and reply to people and structure these messages is very important in order to keep that there, because the more we divert from that, the more likely it's not going to get to a call, or the more likely it's going to require more effort to redirect it back to the call. The more time we put in, the more cost we incur. So essentially that's it in terms of the core structure: connect, engage, and nurture. And when it comes to writing these messages to people, there's sort of two overarching strategies that you can take. You can take a fairly passive approach, meaning, hi John, this is what I'm good at, you know, it'd be great to join your network. Or you can have a fairly direct approach where it's like, hey, this is what we do. If let's jump on a call and show you some more information. I'll jump on a demo. Are you interested in this? It really depends on a few things, which we'll get into right now. So what approach is right for you, passive or direct? Can you just go straight to a call, or do you need to educate your audience first? And the easiest way to determine this is split testing. And so having a good system to determine and provide data on which approach is better is going to be the most effective thing. So writing an approach for both strategies is actually the best thing to do here. But to give you a bit more guidance on which is right for you and your business, let's have a little bit of a look at what you need to cover when it comes to messaging and what you actually have within your business. So as an example, if you have a fairly strong offer, then a direct approach can be really powerful. Or you have a software product that solves a very specific thing and provides a very specific outcome, that's where a direct approach is fine. You're like, hey, this is what we do. Is this of interest? Whereas things that are harder to connect to direct revenue, like things like leadership coaching or coaching, it generally depends on a more passive, more education-based approach to really establish you as the expert in that space, so people can trust that when they reach out to you, they know you're the leader in that field. So what do you need to cover in your messages in order to get people to respond? I often talk about this, I talk about this a lot, like what are the mechanics, what are our levers that we can pull? And we really want to use what we have available to us. So we're trying to drive buying behavior. And what really determines buying behavior is two key things. First of all, the market need. Is there an actual market need? Do people actually need this problem solved? A lot of people try to go out and solve problems that there isn't a huge market need, or there's an insane amount of competition. And this is a really important thing to consider. Like, it's going to be harder if there's little need or a lot of competition. So that's one thing. It's not always within our control, but it's something that you need to be aware of. What is in our control is whether we address that need or a different need. So there's what drives buying behavior, there's the market need and competition, and then there's how do we establish trust around the idea that we can solve that problem. Now the ways we can establish trust are, and this is very much applies to how you write your profile as well, which I cover in depth in another video, but it's the whole thing, this is overarching our entire strategy, is how do we establish trust and drive buying behavior. So first thing is credibility. You know, have you been around a long time? What's your retention rate? How much do your clients trust you? What kind of results have you generated? You know, what big brands have you worked with? Niching or expertise, you know, focusing in on a very specific problem. This is where like software products can be really effective, or, you know, if you provide a general service, focusing in on a specific industry or a specific target market. Branding and likability, you know, how this one a lot of people struggle with, and if you have a strong offer, you don't need this one so much, but you know, if you're posting content and you're putting out a lot of video and people can see you, they like you, they resonate with you, this is really good for your branding and content. And if you're consistent with the colors and what you're putting out there, this can all help to generate trust with what you do and have people come to you. Probably less relevant in your messaging, but it's still important to talk about. And the other way is having a strong offer. So what outcome can you promise, or what outcome is it likely that you can provide, and what time frame, and then building credibility around that. So if you think about this and what you have within your business. Do you have a strong offer? Keep in mind, you don't need all of these, but you do need some of these. And your messaging, when you write your messaging on LinkedIn, think about how can you incorporate these things. Credibility. Hey, we've worked with companies like giant global companies. Don't say giant global companies, say they're actual companies. The more specific, the better. Credibility. Hey, we helped this brand achieve this result in this amount of time. Or hey, we do this and we help these companies achieve this. We have a money back guarantee. If it's of interest, it'd be great to show you what we do. Branding and likability. Harder to do in messaging. It's more probably done by your actual profile and website and the content you post. But you can be quirky in your messaging. Say something that's quite, characteristically you and a bit quirky and fun. You don't even need to necessarily hit these other markers, and you can get people to connect and engage. This is like your traditional network building, but it's a lot easier if you have a good, strong offer and a good, strong value proposition. And the other one is niching. If you focus in on a specific industry, are you willing to focus in on a specific industry? In your messaging, a lot of the clients we work with, we say, look, you don't have to niche your entire company to focus on this industry. But if you've got good results, let's say within manufacturing, then let's target manufacturing and talk to manufacturing specifically. Hey, we've got some great case studies in manufacturing. Let's connect and I can share some examples. You don't have to niche your entire business, but on a campaign or a messaging level, you can niche specifically. So think about how you can combine these things into your messaging in a way, like if you can combine all of these together, you can be quirky and interesting and fun and write a message that's a bit different. You can focus on a specific target market and build credibility around the fact that you've helped this market and tell them this is the outcome that we provide in this amount of time with a guarantee. Like, you got to make an offer that's essentially hard to say no to. Alex Hormozi has a really great book, $100 Million Offers. He talks about having a strong offer. Offers so good that you feel stupid saying no. Think about that. How can you make your offer and your messaging so good that you honestly have to feel stupid to say no to it? So, some key things to remember when it comes time to actually generating our scripts. I know this is all very high level and theoretical at the moment. We're going to go into some typical examples in a minute. So, when it comes time to writing your scripts, some really key things to keep in mind. We want engagement from our scripts. Just don't dump people with a whole ton of information. We need them to engage with us. Less is more. 3 to 5 sentences max. We want to try and get people to engage with us to get more information. The reason we need people to engage is because the nurturing component is so important. And if we don't know who to nurture, if we can't call that out or identify that, then no one's going to get nurtured, or we're going to nurture everyone and it's going to cost too much money. So keep messages short. We want engagement and one call to action. Don't give people 1,000 choices. It's much easier to say yes or no than it is to actually just send someone a booking link and have them actually go through and book the call. Bite-sized bits of engagement, because that will snowball into more engagement later. Some important things to remember before we talk about some messaging structures. Most of the heavy lifting when it comes to your messaging is done by proper targeting. If you're targeting the right people, they should understand it and you should get a better conversion rate. Targeting people who are active on LinkedIn. If you're targeting people who don't even use their profiles, you're not going to get a great conversion rate. Is there a market need or is there a lack of competition? If you have a huge amount of competition and not a vast market need, you're going to have to do a lot more around these guys here. You need to put more work into the branding and likability and building trust with more things. You have to do more than the competition in order to stand out. Your profile, your website, your other assets, they're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. As you reach out to people, message people, they're going to check these things out. And if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't look slick, or it doesn't look good, people aren't going to connect, and it doesn't matter what you say. If they don't believe it when they check out more about you, it's not going to matter what you say to these people. Now, process, once again, you can get your message completely right, and you can have your nurturing process completely in place. But if you don't have a good system to track and manage it all, it's pointless, because it's going to cost you too much to do it at scale. And it's really important that we are able to scale this. People often say, hey, I'd rather less conversations, but more convert. And I look at them and I say, yeah, everyone would. We don't have more conversations and call more people because it's fun. It's because we're trying to find those people who are willing to talk. And sometimes you just need to have both a good strategy, a solid strategy, and scale in order to get to the right people. You know, even with the best offer in the world, there's only a small percentage of any market who's just ready to buy at this point in time, or it might not be their current priority. So let's talk about the actual messaging structure. So once again, there's a number of different things you can do, but let's keep it simple so that you have a starting point. Connection message, and this is for the connection and engagement component. Connect, and you only have 300 characters for your connection message. I've got other videos that go into full detail, like as long as this video, around how to write that connection message. But first thing we need to do is connect, and then our first message after they connect, we generally send it like straight after they connect or 1 day later. Message 1 plus 1 day. And then we generally send 2 follow-up messages. Like I said, most of your heavy lifting, remember what I said, most of the heavy lifting is done by the profile, the value proposition, the offer. So the first message is very much structured around, hey, this is what we do, building credibility around the value you provide and trying to get some call to action. Is this of interest? Yes. Would you like to jump on a call? Yes. Would you be interested in this resource? Yes. Message 2 and message 3, essentially just pulling focus back to that first message. If you send too much information, people are going to switch off. Message 2, hey, just following up. And maybe building some more credibility. We've done some work with this. For the most part, it almost just needs to be, hey, just following up. Doesn't need to be much more than that. Maybe try and sprinkle a little bit more credibility if you couldn't fit it in message 1. Message 3, classy goodbye. Hey, I'm not going to keep following up. If it's of interest, please let me know. And then this is the last time, maybe you can put a link in there to try and get them to see your website if they haven't already. Keep in mind the connection message, it's super important that you're not connecting with people who aren't interested. This would be annoying unless you structure your connection message properly. It's like, hey, if this is of interest, let's connect. Hey, if you're after a demo, let's connect. Make sure you get the right people connecting before you send this stuff. That's where most people go wrong, is they connect under false pretenses. Hey, you know, LinkedIn said we should be friends, let's connect, and then blasting people with pages and pages of information. So this is a great place to start. 1, 7, 14, short messages. Most of the meat and bones are in message 1. Message 2 redirects the focus to message 1, adds some more credibility. Message 3 is really your final offer, final goodbye, classy goodbye, pointing them to the website to learn more if they're interested. So when it comes to nurturing, like I said, it can be that connection and engagement component is fairly defined. You know, everyone's at the same point, and until the conversation starts, it's a defined process. Now, once people connect, this is where people get lost. They're not sure how to respond, and we're trying to keep the focus towards that phone call. 90% of the time, if you structure your messages correctly, there's only so many ways people respond. They're either interested, they want a call. Sometimes people just say, thanks, or good to connect. And it kind of feels like it stops the conversation dead. So you need to have a response for when people want to call, when they're interested, when they just say thanks, when they just say not at the moment. So we're trying to get permission for future touch points when it's not at the moment. When people say no thanks, most times you just say, yeah, no worries, but you can also use this as an opportunity to position liking your page or some resources, and people ask you to follow up in the future. So if you can have predefined responses to all of these, and make sure that we're always trying to guide it towards future touch points or conversations, then you're going to do well. Now let's jump into a few examples so that you can put some of this theory to good work. So this is one we've been using for years, and it's generated well in excess of $1 million in revenue. And I just want to highlight, it doesn't have to be complicated. And like I said, most of the work is done by targeting the right people and having the right offer. Hi, John. I share a lot of free training on using LinkedIn to generate SaaS software leads and book demos you may find useful. I'm the founder of an Aussie lead gen company and have a money back guarantee on our services. So if any of this is of use, now or later, it'd be great to connect. So this is kind of somewhere between passive and direct. And what we're doing here is, we're identifying the problem we solve. We're helping people to book demos and generate leads. For a lot of companies, this is where they have a lot of trouble, a lot of pain. And so we've identified the problem, and we've also called out the niche market. So niche, identified the problem. I'm the founder of an Aussie lead gen company. We have a money back guarantee on our service. So we've developed a strong offer. So this is leaning on the offer component. If any of this sounds useful, now or later, it'd be great to connect. So getting buy-in, by their connecting, they're admitting, yes, this is of interest or this sounds of use. So this is where we split test a couple of different follow-on messages. And this is a good example of how less can be more. Hey, thanks for connecting. Rather than send unwanted messages, I thought I would ask, using LinkedIn as a new source of lead generation is something you'd like to learn more about, because we've got tons of great resources. You're watching one now, or need any assistance with. And this is where it kind of leads in. If they say yes, then that leads into our nurturing component where, yes, they've expressed interest. Okay, great. Well, how about we jump on a quick call? I can share some ideas you may find useful. Let me know when suits, and then you can share a link, or you could even just keep it as simple as, hey, okay, great. How about we jump on a quick call, learn more about you and your business. I can share some ideas that we've used to help similar companies. Hard to say no to, they've just said they're interested. This is a loser, but still did really good. But it's just here to show you like split testing can be really effective, because this to me seems like it would have been a better message. Hey, for the past 4 years, I've been helping Aussie software companies generate more sales and leads via LinkedIn. Like I'm an extra salesperson, but with better ROI. We even offer money back guarantee, no questions asked. I want to reach out and see if you're interested in learning more about how we help software companies and what makes our approach different. Yeah, so once again, to me, this seems like it'd be a better message. It hits on more of the markers, but this one, it's shorter. And like I said, the actual profile, the offer, it was already in that first part. It's in the profile. They're going to check out the website. They're going to see if their credibility is even there. And you don't always have to smush it all into the messaging. Next one, hey, just to follow up on my last message. If they weren't interested in that, you can also sometimes offer like secondary offers like resources or webinars. Most people don't run this, but if you do, hey, we're hosting one of our Q&A sessions soon where we discuss, this is the value provided by the presentation. Let me know if you're interested. Happy to jump on a quick call to share more about what we do. So still trying to propose that call. And then the last one is, just wanted to follow up one last time, essentially. So it's that classy goodbye. So this is ours. Obviously, I'm happy to share ours. I've pulled some from clients that have done really well, obviously redacting information that isn't necessary, and trying to make it a bit more general so you can approach it to apply it to you if this is for you. So this is from like a branding web agency. Hi John, I'm the founder of a specialist branding, digital marketing, whatever agency focused in on this. We've done a lot of work developing award-winning websites that focus on, what's the value you provide. If you're open to it, it'd be great to connect here on LinkedIn. Hey John, great to meet you. Always great to connect with other, what do they do around location? If you can pull location in, that's another great way to establish trust. I would provide you with some strategic advice on this. If you're looking for solution to problem, so you're identifying the problem and saying that you can assist with that problem. I realize you may not be looking to. This is another really effective strategy, is identifying the elephant in the room. A lot of people will put up guards because it's like, oh, not at the moment. But if you can address that first and say, hey, you may not need it at the moment, but it's okay, we can just have a chat. Then you can get people to have a conversation with you. In this conversation, a lot of people try to push for like a strategy session, which, no one believes a strategy session is a strategy session anymore. They all think it's a sales call. When we get people to a call, just try and keep it very casual. It's really around establishing credibility, trust, and building rapport. So important. We're just trying to get people onto a call so we can have a human conversation so they can see you're not just text on a page. Once again, second message just redirects focus to that first one. And then, hey, just wanted to follow up one last time. If you prefer, I can follow up another time. Otherwise, I've included a link to our portfolio if you want to check out some of our work. Like I said, it's not rocket science. The profile, the offer, the website, like a lot of your resources in the background are going to do the heavy lifting for you. There's another good one for leadership development, coaching, because this is one that really needs more education. Where this one did really well is we focused in on a very specific title and specific market, which is really important in the coaching space because it is incredibly, I'll say, a lot of competition. So you really have to in order to get ahead. Hey, I wanted to reach out. I see you focus on this, like calling out their title. My name is John, and for years I've been facilitating the value you provide. Recently with a focus on, what's this interesting new thing that you're doing. I value connecting now and in the future to explore opportunities. Thanks for connecting, and to enable further conversation, I thought I'd share a bit more about what I do. I help, what's the audience? Achieve, what do you help them achieve? This is where the money lives. This is your value proposition. This is your key offer. It doesn't have to be long, but it's important to get right. Like I said, this is why we have our setup and strategy fees, because this is where we need to put a lot of work, is understanding what is that core offer, strategy, and value proposition for LinkedIn. It might be different for LinkedIn than it is for your website or inbound leads. Our clients are seeing great results. Check my profile. Once again, building credibility. So I thought I'd check and see if this is something you're interested in learning more about or have done work with previously. Once again, trying to address any walls that might get put up. Have you done work with it previously? And then if they say yes, then you can ask more probing questions to understand where they're currently at around it. We've seen great results in organizations like name some big brands that you've worked with, build credibility, redirect to that first message. Once again, last message, classy goodbye. Appreciate how busy you probably are. So following up one last time, we're doing some fascinating work in whatever it is you're doing. I'm certain that you would get value from it. If you prefer, I can touch base later in the year or send over an article I recently published. Building credibility, adding value. This is one we did recently, and I loved this one. This was so specific, so niche, and very little competition because it was so specific and niche, and it's done so well. Even though it was an audience that wasn't that engaged, the people who saw it, they were just like, yes, that is me. Hi, John. I've been working with other builders to improve their thing that they know about and having pain with and integrate with this system. So this is a tech or an IT company. We've done with a lot of what's the industry, with a lot of builders still not looking to make the cutoff date for this integration, because this is a mandated integration. I thought you'd be interested in how we've helped other builders achieve this in 5 simple steps. So what's really cool about this is there's a lot of pain around it. There's not a lot of competition, and there's a timeline. There's a mandated timeline that they have to get it done by. So this, anytime you can put a timeline in it, wow, it's super powerful. If you get a connection on that, you can pretty much just say, hey, let's jump on a call and I'll share some more information, because they know they have the problem. It's really that simple. Hey, thanks for connecting. Nice to meet you. We've developed, as you know, re-explain what you've said in the first message. We've developed a solution for builders to achieve this and connect with this thing that needs to be done by this date. We've successfully completed the process 20 times with organizations like, build credibility with other companies you've done it with. And so I wanted to reach out and see if this is something you'd like some more information on our work. Say yes, people jump on a call straight away. You're like, okay, great, let's jump on a call. Just following up my last message. If you're interested in how we've solved these issues for other, call out the company. Would you be able to do a quick call, even just to share ideas on how we've done it before? And once again, just another message. Hey, just a final follow-up, confirm you weren't interested. It really is it's really just floating your name back to the top of their inbox. By this point, if they have that problem, they should want to get on a call. And if they're not responding at this point, it's because it's just they've forgot about it, have missed the message, or they've just gone to other things, which is completely normal. And this is a really good one for enterprise software. If you are like a consultant for a specific enterprise ERP, CRM software, this is really effective too. Hey, I'm a XYZ consultant specializing in helping this industry achieve this result. Done a lot of work with other and often post useful tips for management of this software and achieving this goal. If it's of interest, it'd be great to connect. Hi, John. Thanks for connecting. Let me know if I can provide any value or if you can help me in any way. If they can help you with their services, people love jumping on that. And this is a really interesting strategy we developed here. And I've done another message video on this called how to qualify your audience for when you can't tell what for example, what software they're using. So if you're happy to share, I'd be interested to know if you currently use any CRM, ERP, whatever solutions in your business. And depending on what they say, depends on what you position. Yes, we're using this. Oh, great. Well, I'm still learning a lot about this. I'd be happy to share what we've learned in the last 5 years. Let's jump on a call. Value there. No, we're not using this. Oh, really? How do you manage without one? If you like, I'd be happy to jump on a call and share some ideas that can help you, leverage this low cost value reason to jump on a call. Or, hey, we use a different solution. Oh, really? How do you find that different solution? I've been using this for this many years. And I know the thing you use has this issue or that issue. If you're open to it, it'd be great to jump on a call and share some ideas. We've helped other people using that transition to this and save time doing this or achieve this outcome. Position what they do, what you do as the solution to what they're currently doing. Next message, once again, building credibility, redirecting that first one. Hey, we've helped similar organizations like you, like this, and use real examples, gain a much better understanding of this, save hours of manual labor each week, and make better business decisions from. Now you can see it's just, we're trying to establish that value. I'd be happy to share some relevant information or useful resources if it's of interest. Hi John, just wanted to follow up one last time. If you prefer, I can follow up another time. Send over a useful resource. I have a lot of great content I'm happy to share. You can see a lot of this is not like rocket science. They're not really giant long sales pitches. It's really just getting that value proposition, that key messaging right, getting the targeting right. And honestly, like, some of these may not work for you. They worked really well for the client we did, but you've got to split test. You've got to understand the data and what it's telling you, because one thing could work for you, it could completely fail for someone else. And so you need to run different experiments. We have a pretty good idea of where to start, but I'm constantly surprised by what works for one and what doesn't for the other. And you've got to be prepared to look at the data and say, all right, well, this is the direction we need to take the message. It needs to be more direct. It needs to be more passive. We need to build more credibility. What are our levers? So I hope that was helpful. I know it's a lot to think about. I wish I could just say this is the perfect winning template. These are some that have generated a lot of money for our clients and for us. And so, like, it's a great place to start. But like I said, they're not necessarily guaranteed to win. You really need to be able to split test, understand what the data is telling you, make sure you get your value proposition right. And yeah. Anyway, hope that's been helpful. Feel free to reach out, add comments below, share your messaging. I'll provide my thoughts on it below. Or if you have any thoughts on this, disagree, more than happy to discuss. I love talking about this kind of stuff. As always, Ryan Caswell from b2bleads.com. Have a great day.